they're channeling the god Apollo, assuming. How could it make predictions and answer questions? Is that the only entity that you see as a human construct?
85% of what they were channeling was the Apollo god.
All right, let's start with the Oracle of Delphi. I was just doing a little research prior to this, and the Oracle of Delphi was like a lineage. It was a family lineage that had lasted a while, and she supposedly had channeled Apollo when they believed in multiple gods. So a lot of this, I mean, listen, it went on for a very long time. A lot of the prophecies that she would say, became true. And people for centuries took the Oracle of Delphi for held her word for high regard. So I'd like to see what you see. Let's see what you see.
Okay. Let me take a moment here and get grounded and tune into this. I'm seeing this woman who's definitely channeling here. It's almost as if she is feeling like she has to sacrifice something to attain this. This is about, it's almost like she doesn't feel worthy of what she is channeling here. I'm seeing multiple women here actually doing this. And there's a sense of, I'm seeing like this pain energy around the bottom two chakras. The first and second chakra is one way to describe them, as the lower chakras. Let me see what this is about. Yeah, it's almost like they're punishing themselves on some level so that they can basically leave their body on some level. And I don't mean that like in the sense of an out of body experience. I mean that in the sense of kind of the opposite of being mindful of your body. But the purpose of this is like ecstatic dance, in the way that a lot of tribes will do this to kind of go somewhere else mentally. And so this is the opposite of what I do, which is more being mindful of my body and pulling my spirit more into my consciousness of being here on Earth. Whereas this is kind of the opposite, and it's pulling in something else that is channeled through this process.
Is it perhaps that they had to be virgins or something and maintain their virginity in order to channel?
I mean, this seems, what I'm picking up on is ritualistic. So I don't know if virgin is part of this, but it's definitely ritualistic in the sense that these people almost feel as if they are followers of a practice, and this is their practice, rather than them being put up on a pedestal and worshipped as a god. It's more like they are doing a ritual, and so they aren't even important here. It's more like what they're channeling that is important.
Can you get a sense of the entity that they were channeling? Because they're channeling the god Apollo, assumingly. But is this an actual entity, or is this
let me
spirit in general?
I get multiple things going on here. There seems to be some sort of entity that is like created, projected, and because they've projected this idea of it out there, and so many people have kind of created that, it creates a like an etherical version of that their faith and their dedication to it allows it to kind of project what they're projecting onto it, which kind of makes it manifest on in some way.
So it's a human construct, but because there's enough believers that it's kind of like a created entity and it forms a sort of reflection.
Yeah, I guess I want to say it's kind of like the idea of AI taking on a consciousness, even though it was created by humans. It's not exactly the situation, but it's kind of a
Well,
metaphor.
then how can that, does that thing have a conscious, like how could it make predictions and answer questions?
I'm getting that it feeds off of the belief of the people, in some sense that is food to this being. And that reminds me of what a lot of people say in Europe about pixies and fairies and things like that, which is that if you don't believe in them, then they no longer can exist. And so this seems to be something of that, of a similar nature to that.
Now you
Although
said
I
you
do
saw
get that
multiple things. Is that the only entity that you see as a human construct?
no, there is something else here. There is something else here that seems, it's like insectoid, like an
I'm
insect
listening.
type, a type
Okay.
of energy here. Let me see what this is about. And this seems to be controlling the society and the culture. This is some energy here that is regulating society through this. Let me see more about this. What does this being want? I just get the word mind control. It wants to control people. What? Why does it want to control people? I mean, it's just kind of like a cliche answer, but what I'm getting is that it wants to feed on people's energy. I mean, this kind of reminds me of the Matrix. It's kind of cheesy, but let
Well,
me see.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, it's the history of humans, basically, some sort of slavery and mind control. But is this like an actual physical being? Is this one of those mantis beings, or is this like a spiritual or metaphorical?
This does not seem physical to me. Let me see more about this, though. It's not physical in our density, but at a different density, you could say that on some level it's physical, but to us, we would not call it physical. But it is
Is
a construct. It is a being that has a form. You could compare it to like a astral body or something like that.
okay. Is it though a mantis being, or is it like the typical praying mantis type alien creature, or is this something new?
No, it kind of looks like a giant fly, but kind of more robotic, and it has like tentacles that come out.
So was this?
Kind of,
It sounds like a negative being, and this is what the Oracle of Delphi was channeling in as Apollo.
I would say, I would say a very small percentage. It seems like at least 85% of what they were channeling was the Apollo god, um, which was in some sense them just tapping into universal truth through this symbol of their god. But then there's this other little small percentage that was sneaking in and kind of disguising itself as that as well. So it's a mix of both.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else to add to this before we move on to Nostradamus?
I see other people involved too that it seems like on some level, on very rare occasion, they would be just kind of channeling people's opinions around them and just reinforcing, popular opinion, I guess you could say, or at least the opinion of people who were able to influence them energetically.
Hmm.
People's strong opinion is what's coming through.
Okay.
And strong intention.
Okay. Wow. It's like you can't escape that no matter what. It's like you can receive channeled information, but it could be contaminated with the belief systems of the people around you. So it's like you might as well not even bother channeling because it could be polluted.
Well, I think that the majority of it was legit. There's just a very small amount that was like just like a speck. So that is the problem with channeling, which is why I'm not really that into like channeling other beings, um, because of that exact reason.
Okay. Have you ever tried that?
I've sort of tried it, but I never really got too into it. I've done a different technique where I've communicated with spirit and whatnot, but that's a little different because it's keeping them separate from you rather than running their energy through you. That way, you still have your own energy running through you, and you're less likely to take on other energies that may or may not be in your best interest.
Okay.